Hi, my name's Alex from BrushQuirk Painting. I'm back again with another quick tutorial today, this time going over the blood effects that I've used on some of the miniatures I've done. I'm going to be going over doing sort of basic blood on weapons, then the Stringy Gore, and also the big sort of drippy blood bits that you might have seen on some of my previous models. So we'll get ourselves together and we'll get started. Okay, so for this we need a few basic materials really. We need, first off, a palette for us to mix our blood and our goop on. We need a really old crappy brush, some cocktail sticks, some Tamiya clear acrylic red, any black paint, I've got Vallejo Game Air on hand, some super glue, some Uhu, just like we used in the Stringy Drool tutorial, and also some plastic strands that we made there, which I've got cut. I've chosen a couple at the front there, we won't use that many. As well as that, you'll need the models that you want to apply your blood to. So, we'll get ourselves set up and get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is attach our strands where we want any sort of big drippy bits of blood. So for this, we're going to be using, well, what I want really, is some blood dripping from the axe to the Ravager Chieftain's mouth here, because he's a blood drinker. And also, I want a small strand coming down off of the gauntlet here, because the gentleman's holding a lovely human heart. So, I'm going to, first things first, get some super glue onto a little surface here. Again, the poor beaten purple has taken the brunt of the glue on top. So we'll pop that out of the way now. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to adjust the way I'm holding this, is grab our model and our strand, and we're going to get a little bit of super glue onto the end that we're attaching, and just lining things up. I'm going to have that fitting in just there. Hopefully I can get that to hold, or not. Try that again. So in like that, and I'll adjust the angle once it starts to take. So in fact, we'll let gravity do its thing there. And you can see it's going to be dripping straight down to the mouth there. So thanks gravity, we'll pop that back there. Now I think I'm going to use this thinner strand here for coming off the rest. Spin it around even more, it's got a slightly wider end there. So again, we'll just dip into our super glue, and I want it sort of coming off of the his little bracer that we have going on there. So I'm going to literally just pop it in like so. If it'll stick, pop it in like so, and again we'll just adjust it slightly, and then let gravity do the work. So that's the first step in doing this. So I'll get the other materials and we'll come back for doing the standard blood on the weapons. Okay, so what we're going to do now is get some nice blood streaks onto the weapons that we've got, as well as anywhere else where we want it, and we're going to add some colour to those drippy strands that we've got glued on now. So the first things first, I'm going to get a lovely glob of Tamiya red onto the palette. It's a really sort of bright red, which is good for arterial blood, but it's just a little too bright, I think. So I'm going to clean that off quickly and get just a little bit of a black over here. So wash my brush off a little bit. It's an old crappy one, so you don't need to worry too much. I'm going to mix in just a touch of that black into here. So we've got a darker sort of browny red tone. Maybe a touch more red into that. There we go. This will help add a bit of depth to things too. So what we'll do is I'll move that out of the way and we'll start going. So with the chieftain, first of all, I'm going to go in and I'm going to just get some of the red onto the drippy strand that we've got there, because that's the bit that really needs the colour. Then onto the axe, I'm just going to get in and do some pretty basic streaking down there, focusing on the area where the drip is. So you can see it's still going on quite bright even after the black that we added. We don't need to worry about the little gap that's going on there either. So that's that side of the axe. I'm going to come in on the mouth as well, get a bit running off there, because it is going to be dripping into his mouth, obviously. A little bit in his beard hair too. There we go. And around the back of the axe, just making sure that everything's lined up. I'm going to do our streaks this side too. And in fact what I am going to do is fill out the patterning on here, because it seems to be sort of a tribal marking. Could be a channel for the blood. I don't really know, but I quite like the sound of that. So we've got a lovely bit sort of going in there. The Tamiya does dry quite quickly, as I believe it's got an alcohol base, which means it generates a bit of a texture on itself with each brush stroke. So I'll turn around again, and I'm just going to get into the channels on this side too. Just going down like that. We can always come back and do some finer streaks. So I'm going to do the shaman next. So again, just onto his sort of bill hook that I guess he's got going on. I'm going to do a touch just on there. So he's been cutting some heads. I'll get the other side in a moment. I'm going to go quite heavily onto here. And starting at the top, because he's grasping a lovely human heart, I'm going to get quite a bit on there, and I'm just going to start dragging it down in a moment. I like to think that he's ripped it out of someone. That's just sort of how I like to think. So I'm going to crack on with this, and I'll do the other weapons like I did with the chieftain, and then when we're done, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is to do the Stringy Gore. This is really similar to how we did the Drool in the other video. So what we're going to do is get our Yoo-hoo glue, and in the same blood mix as before, we're just going to put a decent dollop of that. I know you probably can't see that, but it's being done. And then put that to one side. Then using a cocktail stick, I'm going to mix it in, so we've basically got coloured Uhu. Has a horrible texture, like jelly, you can see, but it also smells pretty bad. You want to do this in a ventilated place. We've got our lovely stringy goodness. So starting on the chieftain, I'm going to fill in that little gap that I had at the top there, because I said that we'd have some problems with that. Get a little more of our stuff. You can already see that stringing everywhere. I'd rather not have it, but that's okay. I'm going to panic and pull that away. Add a touch more and drag it down. And I'm going to put that to the mouth there. Then back up and out to a couple of points on the axe. Let's get a touch more. Again, the stuff dries pretty fiercely quickly and is unreasonably stringy and tough to work with. And just with the Drool, we only have sort of one real shot at doing this. So I'm trying to obey sort of the laws of gravity with these drips too, but it is a bit tricky at times. See me wrestling with this stuff now. So again, we'll get a little bit just from there down to our strand and down to the mouth, and even down onto the chest a little bit there, where I went and filled it in slightly. So that should do us there. So I'll pop this gentleman down, and there's a few stringy bits to do here as well. So again, we'll scoop a decent amount. Since I'm doing this on the beating heart, I want to get a bit of a texture anyway. That might be a bit too much of a texture. Oh, goodness. So we've got our lovely clod of gunk, and I'm going to string it down there, back up, and I'm basically just going to clag it all around the area. Try and create as many strands as I can. There we go. And I'm going to take that down to the little spot on the ground that I've got here, as well as a couple of other spots, because it's pretty sort of horrendous to work with. So I'll drip there. We'll take down to our base, touch it there, back up, and around like so. That should just about do us there. If you look, it's a little wobbly at the moment, but it will stiffen up. Catch a small bit there, and again down to the base. So that's the majority of the stringy gore that we're going to do for today. So I'll come back and show you some finished shots of the entire unit. Okay, so now we have the unit finished. You can see the stringy gore, the drippy gore, and just some of the blood work on the axes here. So, like I mentioned, the strands of plastic, as well as the basic technique for stringing the Uhu mixture from sort of area to area, can be seen in the previous spit tutorial video I did. Finally, I'd just like to say, if you like this video, it would be good if you could like it and leave a comment if you like, as well as check out my other videos and subscribe if you like those too. I'll be back next time with another tutorial, who knows what, but yeah, we'll see you then.